सभी बच्चों को नमस्कार। बच्चों, जैसा कि आप सभी लोग जानते हैं, इस समय हम लोगों की फिजिकल क्लासेस नहीं हो पा रही हैं जिसमें हम वन टू वन इंटरेक्ट कर पाते। हालांकि उसका कोई रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं हो सकता, फिर भी एक छोटी कोशिश है जिससे हम लोग पठन पाठन में कुछ समय दे सकें और आप लोगों का भी मन घर पर लगा रहे। तो आइए बच्चों, आज हम लोग स्टॉक और फ्लो के बारे में डिस्कस करते हैं। जैसा कि आप सभी लोग जानते हैं, स्टॉक एंड फ्लो नेशनल इनकम एंड रिलेटेड एग्रीगेट चैप्टर्स का एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है। इसलिए हम लोगों के लिए यह जरूरी हो जाता है कि हम इनके बारे में अच्छे से जान लें। स्टॉक refers to a variable that is measured at a point of time. ये एक निश्चित समय पर ही इसका मेजरमेंट होता है। Stock has no time dimension. You know, length of time is not there in the stock concept. And friends, it is a static concept. If you look at the examples, capital, bank balance in your account, whatever money you have kept in your account, that is to be treated as a stock. Supply of money, foreign debt, population, etc. Also the example of stock. If you understand the concept of flow simultaneously, you will be able to find the difference. At the same time, there must be a clarity of the concept of stock and flow. Look at the definition of the flow. It refers to a variable that is measured over a period of time. You know, flow has time dimension, means there is a length of time. When we deal with flow, we find that there are length of time. You know, particular whenever we decide which variable is to be treated as a flow concept, you must keep a particular point in your mind that if there is a length of time, there is a stretchage of a time, then that concept is to be treated as the flow concept. And at the same time, dear students, as I told you that flow has time dimension, but it is a dynamic concept. Its examples are as national income, output, investment, expenditure, saving, depreciation, change in inventories, profit and loss, etc. Let us understand why these examples are treated as a flow concept. If you look at, suppose take the example of depreciation. Depreciation does not take place at a particular point of time. It takes place over a period of time. For example, you must have mobile phone, and this mobile phone gets depreciated not in one day or at a particular point of time. It depreciates really over a period of time. जैसे जैसे आप इसको यूज करते रहते हैं, वैसे वैसे इसकी जो फिक्स्ड वैल्यू है, जो उसमें डेप्रिसिएशन आता रहता है। और इस तरीके से जब हम एक टाइम स्लैग्स में, एक टाइम गैप में किसी चीज की वैल्यू में गिरावट देखते हैं, तो दैट इज कॉल्ड डेप्रिसिएशन। इन द सेम वे, change in inventories. You know what is the change in inventories? It's basically the difference between closing stock and opening stock. So it is having stretches of time when you close the stock and when you open the stock. In between there is a period of time. That is why these concepts are treated as the flow concept. But dear students, if you really want to understand the concept of stock and flow, let us differentiate between them. As we have already stated that the differentiation between any concept is done on the basis of certain modalities. For example, what is the meaning of both the concepts? So, depending on some basis, we will be differentiating between stock and flow. First of all, if you look at meaning point of view, we find that stock relates to a point of time. You know, this variable is always measured at a point of time, while flow is relates to the period of time. So what is the basic difference in terms of meaning in these two concepts? Stock relates to a point of time, while flow relates to a period of time. If you look at as far as time dimension is concerned, on that basis, if we differentiate between these two, we find that stock has no time dimension, while on the other hand, flow has time dimension. Time dimension means there is a length of time, and here in case of stock, there is no length of time. You have to measure, you have to find out the value of a particular thing at a certain point of time, and where in that case, that is in the case of flow, we measures the value of a particular things over a period of time. So if you look at third point of difference between these two, actually stock influences flow. How does stock influence flow? For example, larger the stock of capital, larger the stock of capital, more will be the flow of goods and services. That is why stock influences flow. And if you look at in relation to flow, there is also the same case that flow influences stock. For example, monthly increase in income of the household leads to growth in its wealth. Thus, income influences wealth. You know, examples are well known. Examples of stock are capital, wealth, supply of money, price level, etc. While the examples of flow are income, expenditure, investment, production, etc. You have to have a very much clear in respect of difference between these two concepts. First of all, you have to differentiate on the basis of meaning, then time dimension, then effect, last but not least on the basis of examples. So I hope you must have understood the very concept of the difference between stock and flow. But friends, before moving ahead, we need to have some exercise so that we can clear our concepts. There are some, uh, small questions that I'm going to ask you, and will tell you at the same time the answer of the same. If you look at the loss, you must have heard about the profit and loss in business. Loss, what is the loss? How do you categorize loss? Whether it is a stock concept or flow concept. Loss is a flow concept as it is measured over a period of time. Again, what is the profit? Whether it is a stock or flow, profit is also a flow concept. The reason is same. That is, it is measured over a period of time. And savings. Saving is also a flow concept because reason will be same. But why do we treat this saving as a flow concept? Saving is that part of income which is not spent on consumption. So consumption does not take place in a point of time. It takes lot of time. That is, it takes place over a period of time. That is why it is to be treated as a flow concept. If you look at capital, capital is a stock concept because it is related to a point of time. Again, if you look at balance in bank account, whatever balance we are having in our bank accounts, that is to be treated as a stock concept because it is also related to a point of time. Again, if you look at the production, production is flow concept. Why? Because it is measured per unit of time, and whatever per unit, per hour, all these things to be treated as a flow concept. Wealth is a stock concept as wealth is measured at a certain point of time. That is why it is to be treated as stock. Again, last but not least, the example that we are taking, that is the GDP, gross domestic product. It is a flow concept because it is measured per unit of time, and per unit of time is treated as flow concept. So I think, dear students, you must have enjoyed this, and hopefully we will meet soon. Till then, bye bye, goodbye.